Hey, what's up? It's the 4th of July. I should be eating hot dogs and getting sunburned on the beach because all I do is sit inside and make songs and I'll get sunburned in 2 seconds. But I just wanted to get on here and talk to you guys about AI and share my thoughts on that. So at least in a couple years when I'm scrubbing some robot down and it's mixing all my songs for me, at least I can say I said my piece while the world was in the process of changing. And while it's changing, I'm going to change my strings. So I get hit up by a lot of bands for mixing and production work. And I noticed recently that I've been getting some emails about building a real version of a song built from AI stems or mixing a bunch of AI stems, or I'll be sent an AI song and they want me to recreate the song and retrack the guitars and then they'll sing on it and release it that way. And of course, I always think it's cool to like implement new tools and push genres and create something sick because that's what music is all about. Creating something sick and pushing the genre and letting out that emotion that's inside of you and creating something really cool. But because it's AI, I've been feeling like the simulation that we're living in is getting a little bit too deep. So let's break this down. The music industry is a business just like any other business, unfortunately. It follows money, and it probably always will. You used to have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars to make a record because there were studios full of tons of equipment that only the top tier engineers and producers could afford at the time, and only they knew how to use it. But as the internet evolved in 2010, when there was people like me wearing Osiris's and listening to crabcore and played in easycore bands who were really into music, we learned how to crack plugins. We learned from foreign guys on YouTube what a compressor was and tried to understand until 3 a.m. until we got really good at our craft. And it was accessible to everybody. And for some of us, it turned into a full-time job, and it became a really easy way for anybody to create music with these cheap or sometimes free cracked plugins that gave us viruses. My point is it became accessible to anybody, which reduced the demand of these big traditional recording studios, and budgets got smaller and smaller, and more music was created everywhere. And it didn't take away from the fact that unique music rose to the top, and it was still special, but it did change the way that everybody made records. And of course, it affected the record labels and their budgets, and the top tier guys had to adjust and learn to work with these new budgets and go with the flow and evolve with everybody else. And ultimately, that was a good thing because you can work faster, you can be more creative because sonic boundaries were broken, and the cost of entry was extremely low, which means the playing field has been leveled and talent and uniqueness always shine through. Of course, there's still iconic studios that are still in business because of legacy, but for the most part, a lot of the older guys had to adjust and learn how to cope. So this is where AI comes in. I already use plugins like Soothe or GoFloss, which, if you don't know, they can find harsh frequencies or pleasant frequencies and adjust them just by using a percentage. But I'm not using my own ears to find these frequencies. I'm kind of trusting this plugin to use whatever sort of programming it has in it to find the harshness and just turn it down automatically. So in a sense, it's sort of doing a heavy lift of a little bit of corrective mixing. And then there's things like arpeggiators where you can put in a bunch of notes and it randomly puts out a sequencer of notes and that can create a loop. Or there's things like Splice, which have built-in loops, and all you have to do is put in the tempo and the key, and you can instantly have a lead or a beautiful pad to throw on top of your already created track. Or if you want, you can go to Arcade, which can have every element. You can put in the BPM and you can have a drum kit that can create a loop for the bass of your song. You can put in a key, click bass, and it can have a bunch of different variations of bass tracks that you can throw in, and then so on and so forth, including vocals. These are tools that I use every single day when I'm mixing. Bring my guitar up here. So here's the weird thing. What happens when these tools evolve a little bit and they start to get bigger? And there's a plugin that's like automatic kick drum mixer. Because it is a process. You do your corrective EQ, you do your compression, you do your coloration, and then it goes into a drum bus. I mean, there's endless ways to mix a kick drum, but if you want a traditional kick drum rock sound, you know the traditional rules. The boxiness is around 500, the click is around 5 to 8K, the low end is around 60. You know how that works. So what's stopping an AI program from knowing what the perfect kick sound is and just blending in that amount of mix and finding those weird frequencies, sort of similar to Soothe? Now, I don't think we're there yet, but I don't think that that's that hard to create. So when that's created, does that mean I'm out of a job and I'm just hired to be the tastemaker for a project because I have that overly human element because I'm a very flawed human? Or does that flat out mean I'm out of a job because you can train some AI program to be the tastemaker and pick what sort of sound you want out of that kick drum? And if we bring it back to music as a business, here's an example of AI already taking something over. I've noticed that about half my bands will use AI art after I finish mixing or producing their record. Now, I feel a little bit weird about that, but I don't really blame them, to be honest. Because why would they spend hundreds of dollars going to an artist who might not match exactly what they're thinking in their head or might not bring them what they wanted originally, when they could just go to an AI program, type in the prompt that they want of their artwork, give them a bunch of feelings and vibes and moods, and if it doesn't match, then you adjust the prompt, you hit refresh, and it's not like you have to pay again. Now, with a real human artist, if you want an edit, you're going to have to tell them, hey man, you're going to have to draw that again. We're not really happy with it. And there's feelings involved. There is more money involved. There is a connection there that is a little bit scary. What if you upset the artist and they go and tell some managers or labels? I mean, this is hypothetical, but worst case scenarios, anything can happen because it's two humans involved and you both have your own web of connections. Where AI is its own thing, it's strictly a service, and you save a ton of money in the process. So if AI gets good enough, which I think it's been moving even faster and faster, I think the same thing can happen for mixing and songwriting. But I also consider myself a very human songwriter. Like I just wrote a song called Booger Wall, and you would only understand that if you played RuneScape and flicked your boogers on the wall in 5th grade, and then your dad got mad and you had to scrape all your boogers off. I already told this story on another video. But that's not to say that there's a ton of writers who are out there who strictly write to try to write a smash hit. I've been in plenty of sessions where I'm the goofy cartoon guy to bring life into a song, and then there's a big songwriter there who's written for Justin Bieber and whoever else, and it's a little bit of me versus him, art versus writing some smash hit, which I'm not trying to knock that. There is an art to writing a perfectly crafted song, and that is a beautiful thing. But there's a term that those guys use called song math. I think that an AI program could easily learn that and take away their jobs pretty quickly. But at the same time, what happens if you train AI to have the same exact experience that I had or 1,000 other people within a couple minutes? Then they can write the sort of same song that I just wrote. And then guess what? I'm out of a job too. So like I said, I've been starting to get some emails involving AI more and more. Like this week, I've gotten 3 or 4 emails. 2 of the projects were originally created with AI and then re-recorded. Another project had AI vocals on it, and another project was strictly AI, and they wanted me to re-record all the stuff to be a real band. So these musicians or artists or business people are creating these songs, and they want it to sound great, so they're hitting me up for mixing. And then they're going to release the song and promote it as if it's a full band and a full original thing. To me, the line gets a little bit blurred. But who am I to say that? Because like I said, there's loops, there's arpeggiators, there's a ton of ways that I use sort of AI style stuff in my productions every single day. And did those guys make the prompt for their AI song? That's creative in itself, right? So it gets a little bit weird because where is the line drawn? To me, music is personal and it's sharing feelings and it's being creative. But AI can just be a tool to get there. Now, here's a potential path that I think it could go. We love songs because we connect with them, or they inspire us, or they make us feel a certain way. What happens if there's an AI program that can create a song that conveys the exact feeling that you're feeling in that moment? You would never need to listen to something else. Or you can type in, find me something that inspires me in something different, and you can hit refresh until you find something inspiring. The rabbit hole is endless, and it can shoot off into a million ways, but I think technology will usually follow money. So here's how I think that it's going to go. And we can see in a couple years if I'm right, if I'm giving some robot a massage. Silver string. I think there's going to be a split, just like anything else. I think that there's going to be people, that almost took my eye out. I think there's going to be people that love AI music because it is systematically perfect and algorithmically perfect, and I don't know any other adjectives. And then I think there's going to be people who think that human music is perfect because it is flawed, it has unique experiences, and at the time when it is out and AI music is out at the same time, it is in revolt to the overwhelming amount of AI. But the point is, there's going to be trends of AI and human music fighting against each other for a while until one ultimately fads out. For example, 2000s pop punk had a lull. It came back with MGK and all those sort of guys, and honestly, it gave me a ton of business, and I'm really appreciative of it, but 2000 pop punk was not cool for a very long time, or vinyl records used to be the only way to listen to music. So people had to use it out of necessity. It was the only way. But as an easier and cheaper option came out, Spotify, iTunes, all that, Napster, all that sort of stuff, vinyl took a big hit. But later on, it trended back upwards because it was cool to hold the art that's connected to the music that you loved in your hands and hang the record on your wall and show it off. So there was an uptick in that. But you're still going to go to Spotify and jam that song just because it's easier. And everybody knows Spotify doesn't pay artists anything, but vinyl isn't winning. It's easier to use Spotify. It's easier to upload. We know that that's where everybody is listening to music, so that's where you want your music to be. So all in all, I can see in the next couple years, AI music watering down human music, and it will oversaturate an already oversaturated market, but that doesn't mean that human music will be gone. The same way that my mixing job will still be here, it'll just evolve into something that I don't even know exists yet. And like I said, I think the next step would probably be a tastemaker for full productions, meaning people trust my taste to help with songwriting or AI curation or whatever it's going to be, but it'll still be creative in some aspect. I think having a low IQ like me might actually be helpful in the creative process when facing an ultra smart, perfect AI system. I'd like to stay optimistic and say art will always win, but what is going to be art? And I don't really want robots to take over. I'd rather aliens or zombies take over. I think that'd be a lot more fun. So anyway, sorry that was a little bit scattered. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you on the next creation video or mix video or whatever the heck. See ya. Peace out.